Hello friends, neighbors, John Newman's neighbor here, welcome down the Nook, and as you saw in the short opener, it's time to say goodbye to these bottles. This one, I just couldn't pour it all out in one, and this one I did, and I'm not sure I should have, but either way, these are 18-year-old scotches, so they have been poured in these glass for 20 minutes just to let them air out for sure. I got a Glen Grant 18, Glenlivet 18, they're both 43%. Interesting comparison for me. So I'll just walk you through the flavors that I get. 18-year-old scotches have really gone up in price, which is unfortunate because they certainly used to be that sweet entrance into age without crazy. Now it's a little bit of crazy. But if you've got either of these big brand houses, Glen Grant, Glenlivet, make a lot of scotch. Pour one of them. And then when you come back, we'll sip together. A final goodbye to Glen Grant and Glenlivet 18-year-old. 3, 4. Thanks for coming back. As I said in the opener, we've got, two 18-year-old scotches. They are single malts from one distillery, all barley malt. And, being 18, they've been around a while. The youngest liquid in here can be 18. It's interesting that they're both released at 43%, which is really kind of nice. My understanding of the casking with Glen Grant is it's all ex-bourbons. My understanding here is, it's a mixed percentage. I don't know what. Some ex-sherry and some ex-bourbon. So, I would love to say that accounts for the color, but I'm pretty sure both of these are colored. Certainly the Glenlivet. So we'll start with the Glen Grant, not as impressive a bottle shot with no other scotch in it. It is empty. During my, I thought, oh, there's not much left in here, and I just dumped it. This is a little bit full, but I will take some time with it over the day, or probably over the weekend, to be honest. So Glen Grant. Glen Grant, I've really enjoyed more of their 12-year. It's just available, it's affordable, and it's fresh. I actually like their 12. But now that I've gone up to this 18, what am I getting on the nose? And I'm starting there because I do believe it is only ex-bourbon single malt. So let's try this one on the nose. First thoughts, like when I poured it on the opener, all I was getting is that bright, light, fresh fruit. I get a little bit of like pear and sweet apple, green apple, like that kind of lightness. Now that it's really been resting in the glass, I can get a little bit of spice, a little bit light toffee, a little bit, like maybe just a really light raisin. I know that's a sherry note usually for me, but I'm just saying now I'm getting a little bit more seasoning in the nose, and I certainly, off the hop, it was nothing but green apple, pear freshness. It still is very orchard fruit forward for me. Little bit floral vanilla, some nice sweetness, but as I said in that short opener, it actually reminds me of Orchard House. It's that fruity nature. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. It's really nice. It's lightly coating, gentle, fruity. There is a little bit of sweet light toffee. Very little bit of light sweet almond. I'm saying sweet a lot, so just a light almond, but kind of a marzipan because it's got some sugars. Lots of orchard fruit. The finish, I need to take time with. One of the best things for me with older scotches is longer finishes. An 18 for me counts as older scotches. I drink a lot of young, exciting, vibrant, powerful, non-age stamp whiskeys, mostly because it's all I can afford. When I do get something, 18 to 30-year-old, somewhere like in that range, it starts to say, you're going to get a really long finish here and still get just light oaks, but still some nice fruit, some good. Actually, I'm getting a bit of malt sugar in the longer finish. And as I was saying, age really grants that. There's other things that can grant that too. I'll tell you, I can get a sprightly 5-year-old Isla Scotch, and it feels like I'm smoking for days. Like it has nothing but finish. So it's not just age. But here, I think if I were to drink a Glen Grant like at 5 years old, it would be very distillate forward, and I think the finish just wouldn't be there. Now that it's rested in oak, it does have a nice graham cracker, like these things I try to. They're kind of common notes, but mixed with that fruitiness, and it goes on and on. So meant to be a little bit of a comparison here. You know, we've got the Glenlivet, certainly a big house, lots of Scotch produced, and they also released this one anyways at 43%. I know when you go to their website, it says 40%, so I'm not quite sure when they made that change. This one's, I think, 2019 release is this 18-year-old, and as I said, it's got ex-bourbon, but it also has ex-sherry, and I think, going back even a little bit further, I think the Glenlivet 18 was non-colored, but I've been corrected multiple times by people that know far more than me. It is colored, which is too bad because I think like there's not a grand color difference here, but I would love it if this was natural and you could say, hey, you know, this here is ex-bourbon, but enough time that it's got a good golden hue. And here we've got a little ex-sherry, and you can see just that darkening, that slight reddening that happens when you've got some ex-sherry, but it's probably fake color. So on the nose, the Glenlivet, 43%, 18-year-old Scotch. Certainly in a comparison nosing tasting like this, the little bit of sherry addition is really saying hello. So while there is some of that nice lighter malt, that space side, it really, to me, immediately speaks a little more spiciness, a little more huskiness. And here I was playing around with, like, is there a little bit of raisin going on? Like here it for sure is. It got like richer sultana raisins, like that kind of thing. Definitely got, you know, heading into that Christmas spice. By no means is a sherry bomb, like not even a little bit. I'm just trying to describe in contrast. I'm still getting a fair amount of floral. And I don't know, maybe the bottle's been open too long, but there's a little bit of something almost mechanical. The thing that I get, like when I'm nosing and tasting outside in the snow, there's something about, I don't know, there's something in here that's just a little bit of that, just almost an edge of soap, but that kind of stuff. Oh, maybe it's my glass when I said soap. Huh. Well, let's try it on the palate, see if we can't clear that out. Smudge it. That's a nice, it was actually more gentle. I was giving it a bit of a hard time in the nose, but the palate is just so gentle, like so relaxed. An easy Scotch to pour if you have it on the shelf for someone who likes Scotch and you just want to relax and have the conversation and not be woken up by what's in your glass, just more relaxed by what's in your glass. This has a little bit more caramel toffee than this one, like just a little bit. While this is sweeter, this is a little darker caramel, unwrapped caramels. And then it's got just light sherried fruits in the palate. I actually found it more present in the nose and the palate. It's just a little more, just hints of raisin, hints of a little bit of spicing, but just relaxed. Actually, it was really just that. My whole palate just kind of like, and not in a bad way. Interesting. The finish right now, I was talking deliberately, I mean, it's what I do, share what I'm tasting, but actually to see where the finish would go. And it's really kind of just gone into a light oak and a light spice, and it really has lost its fruit. I'm going to give it a second sip, see where it goes. Sancha? These are both drinking just really nice, very relaxed, good finishes. The Glen Grant's actually going on longer, or did go on longer than the Glenlivet for me. They really speak to their casking. This is fresh and lighter and, you know, light toffees, but lots of bright fruits. This is exactly what you'd expect with just a moderate amount, maybe like a 10%, 20% sherry in here. It's probably more like 10, like just a little bit of sherry in here to relax it out and to broaden or deepen or redden the fruits that you're getting. The mechanical note is gone, and that's good. It means it's probably not in there. Maybe it was my glass. That stuff happens, you know. I always wash my glassware the same way, air dry, like all of that stuff, to try to give them as clean as possible, because it was, I think it was James at Sons of Vancouver that was really describing how all of a sudden they're tasting whiskeys and they're like, boy, this is really fruity or whatever. And then you realize, like, the room beside them, they'd changed the hand soap, and that was just enough to change their experiences. So I actually, like, I'm not, really careful enough. Just a casual taster here, but I try to treat things the same. Try to rest them the same. Try to wash the glasses the same, and all that kind of stuff. Here, for me, my preference, you might think I'd be leaning towards this because I tend to have a sherry preference. But today, I will say, I'm going to have a little sip. This is a beautiful dram. Really nice. Just really nice, relaxed ex-bourbon, fresh distillate, aged well to give it some length in the finish. This Glen Grant for me is really good. In fact, it's really good. I'd be happy to say this is well up into the 4.5, 4.25, that kind of thing. My ratings are just off lately. I just struggle to give a Scotch a good rating. I need to not struggle. This is 4.5. This is good. This is solid. This is a 4-star whiskey for sure. It's great. It's fantastic. Are these worth the cost? Well, it's tough for me to know because some markets are still resistant to some of the crazy prices we've seen, but they're very good. And if you only buy a couple of scotches a year and you like relaxed scotches, not bad. For me, I think Glen Grant 18 is worth it. It's an excellent scotch. Thanks for joining me. What are your thoughts? Share them down below. Did I somehow mispronounce Glen Grant and Glenlivet? Just let me know, AP Butler. You're giving me a hard time on my names. You guys have a good week.